Time is passing slowly. Even though you know you have 20 minutes, it feels like an eternity. Hakal is doing his best to move round, trying to secure the perimeter a little. You have 20 minutes until the sun sets. What do? You each have time to do one thing.
Since I don't have anything else or better to do, I think to myself that I wish I had a barrel of oil and... Wait a second, we have all this powder, don't we?
Yes.
This gunpowder?
Yes.
And I shout over to Jürgen and Matilda. Can you do something with this? I need to charge this up. Set up a trap or defense of some kind.
I'll look to Matilda and ask, can you make some kind of a landmine or a trip? I can measure out the powder, I know how to work with that, but the mechanism, that's what I would need help with.
I can try my best. Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. Matilda starts tinkering with a couple of things from my backpack.
Matilda, you think, again, if this is your action for the next 20 minutes, that you're not entirely sure you can make landmines, but you definitely can set up some barrels in a few locations that if they were shot, they would make a nice explosion.
Can I make a chain reaction? So if one barrel gets shot, the other one next to it gets explodes too?
You can, but that will depend on the number of successes you roll. So let's do you first. Let's go for a combination roll. Make it interesting. So first of all, roll your intellect engineering.
Okay, 6, 6, 4, 4, 3, 3.
That is a lot of successes. Yes, you can definitely make a chain reaction, and you even think you have time to set it up pretty much wherever you want. Please roll agility and crafting.
I get a 5, 5, 5, 4, 4, 1, 2.
Matilda, everything goes as you wish. Not only are you going to be able to set up a trigger reaction, but you can set up whatever you want, and you have plenty of time to do it. So you tell me, you have a circular area, the tower in the middle, and a big gate. Where do you set up these bombs?
How many do I have?
You have time to set up 3.
In the 3 areas that you mentioned, can I put one in each and connect them?
Yes, you can, and you do so. Again, this takes you the 20 minutes, but you can do this, even though you're a little anxious. So, while that is happening, Jürgen, what are you doing? You see Matilda hard at work getting this all ready. You think she's got it handled. What do you do?
I would like to set up some cover, with the idea being that once the gate is breached, we will have some area to shoot behind, and then we can retreat to another layer of defenses, and then another layer, with the final holdout being in the watchtower. So the crates that had equipment in them, if there are things that are not especially valuable that we could use, that I could use to make barricades, something that would give us a field of fire over the gate, and then maybe another one in that central courtyard area.
You certainly do find things that will help, because you notice some of the crates are stocked with metal sheets. Probably scrap metal from something, but you think if you just move them into a few positions, you can definitely make some basic cover. I think this will simply be a standard body athletics check, as you simply haul them into position. Please roll.
4 successes and a 6.
You are able to get things in position. It's not the best. Like, you only really have time to do that first layer properly, just in front of the gate, giving you a bit of cover for things that, if they came in from the gate, you can get a good shoot on them, but you don't have time to do the second one, unfortunately. It's all a bit hard work. Vorken, what are you doing? If you wish, you can devote all your time to working on this crank, and you'll get quite a few attempts at it, if you do so.
I look things over at things as people start working. I look to Hakal. I ask, how many hours do you have left?
I have about 10, I reckon. Should be okay. God will be on our side, I think.
I think justice will be right there with us, riding us into what we deserve.
He smiles a little at this and says, "Oh? Does justice always give people what they deserve? What if the justice is unjust?"
Well, maybe then they deserved it as well. But we will do what we believe is right. If they believe destroying this place in their own name is the way to go, then, well, other forces have mercy on their souls if they fail.
It is complicated. After all, isn't it all because they think this land is theirs? You did take it from them.
Damn clanners. If at least they were keeping to somewhat of a parley or could accept the strength that we have brought. How can they not see that? Do you know? How can they not see the sheer force in the Protectorate? And what that brings? And why that makes it right?
He shrugs as he says, "Sometimes it is difficult to see, friend, but I agree. They have something behind them, these cockroaches, that is hard to negotiate with. Still, God will see us through the night."
And as we wrap up this little conversation, I nod approvingly to the preparations of the defenses, thinking that what I'm doing is going to be the first line. As they come in, we'll take some out, and what Matilda, is planning, putting up, that should do well. And then we'll see how long we'll last. And I go in to the shed to start turning the crank.
So, could you please roll for me? Once again, body and athletics, but do it 3 times. Every 6 counts as 2 in this case.
11 in total.
You begin working that crank. You're beginning to sweat a little, but you get into a good rhythm. Eventually, you see the power bar on the side beginning to rise, and you're getting there. It's 10-20 minutes past, but it's still not done, but 70-80%. You're nearly there, just a little bit more. And it's then that the sun begins to descend. What are you doing, Matilda and Jürgen? Darkness is starting to come over the place. You see Hakan quickly go to light a torch or 2 he found from somewhere and to set them up near the watchtower so you have some light, but otherwise it is now almost completely pitch black out there. What are you doing?
Tilda is just settling down with her rifle and whispering to herself her plan of how it works. She's whispering numbers, she's whispering angles, she's whispering, if I do this, then this will happen, then this reaction is gonna do this, and she's in her own head right now, but very, very focused on what's coming up.
Where are you setting yourself up, Matilda? There's now a little barricade just before the gates and your explosives, but there's also the watchtower, which would, for your hunting rifle, give you a much better view of things. You'd also be further away from danger.
She's gonna be in the watchtower then.
You take up position. This is also, you notice, where Hakal and Murdoch are setting themselves up. Again, you can't see much of anything now in the dark, but you can at least see the courtyard below. Jürgen, what are you doing? Everyone's setting up at the watchtower, but you don't think everyone should be up there. After all, if everyone's up there, no one will stop people breaking down the gate and just charging up towards you. What do you do?
Of course, and my pistol doesn't really have the range for that kind of fighting. So my plan is to hold the line at that first barricade. I think I'm in a good position to set off Matilda's trap, and then as the situation deteriorates, I will retreat towards the watchtower, and then that's where I'll make my final stand.
Very good. And you, of course, Falcon, have no choice. You have to remain in that shed for now. You can see Jürgen and his barricade. It wouldn't take you long to get there, but you can't leave yet. Not yet.
No, this must be charged as full as possible. This will be the most effective bit, at least if they're going to throw themselves at them, who knows. It's going to take them a lot of time to get through.
Based on our understanding of this pylon system, is it a one and done? Does it have to be triggered?
You believe that as soon as the crank has powered up, it will activate instantly and cover the whole perimeter, in theory.
Well, timing that's going to be difficult. I don't know if I can shout to Vorkin at this point, or at least just talk into the shed. Does it look like we can get it 99% of the way there and then have some kind of signal for go? Because what I don't want to happen is he charges it all the way up and then it goes off as the cockroach horde is still 20 feet away.
As you're discussing this, you hear on the air again the shriek of that bird. And then you hear voices. Croak, 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 croak. 5 voices, 10 voices, 20, 30. You suddenly swear all of you can hear the sound of at least a crowd of 40, 50 people beginning to just scream and shout. Up above in the watchtower, Matilda, you try looking out in the darkness, but you can't see anything. You can't see anything, but you can hear it. It's coming from everywhere. What do you do?
Can I hear what direction it's coming from, or is it just literally everywhere it's coming from?
Everywhere. North, south, east, and west. You are surrounded.
Okay, Matilda's gonna be very, very focused on trying to gauge how far away these voices are coming from, so she knows when to help trigger the mechanism, the bomb. So she know what timing to do with that.
Yes, Murdoch you see just by your side getting ready his own rifle and swearing, saying, Okay, Scrapper, you better be ready, cause... Oh, okay, for the Protectorate, we're gonna fucking kill this time. Don't you tell me to shush! Hakal sort of tries to shush him with you, but at this point you're being drowned out by the sound of the chanting and the screaming. Down below, Vorkin, you quickly realize you don't have time. You don't have time to be clever about this. You just need to go. Now. What do you do?
This will work, I just say, and I start reciting the Judge's Codex to myself, trying to drown it out, shouting loudly.
Roll me a body and athletics check.
That is 3 successes, and 2 of them are 6s.
You begin turning the crank as fast as you can. 85, 90, 95. Could everyone please roll initiative? So you roll your sigh and reaction. Every success is your initiative score. If you get at least 2 6s, something special happens. You can also spend ego points. You only have a few of them, but you can spend 1 now to give yourself another dice to initiative, and it will also give you a dice on your first action, if you wish.
What does happen if you get 2 6s on your psyche plus reaction roll?
You get a second action. This round, yes.
Well, I've rolled 2 6s, a 4, and a 2. So that's 3 successes, but 2 of them are 6s.
So that means your initiative is free.
I get 2 6s, get 2 4s.
I'll use 1 ego point then, to get an extra. It's just 2 successes.
Matilda, you're waiting, you're listening, and you finally hear the chanting turn into a scream of rage, as it sounds like multiple people are rushing toward your location. You can't see them yet, but you're waiting, and you see, suddenly, just in front of the gate, you can just about see it in the dark. Your eyes are adjusting, and your danger sense helps you out a little as well. You think you can see some movement. There's people charging towards the gate. There is a loud thumping sound on the gate as the gate begins to buckle. That shouldn't be possible, and yet something is hitting it so hard that it is starting to bend a little, that bar at least.
Oh no.
What do you do, Matilda? It's your turn. You can just about see something in front of the gate, still unclear, but something is going to buckle down that gate. It might come down any minute now.
Oh no. Matilda is gonna try and see if she can locate what the thing that is making the gate buckle is, and where it is, and who's holding it.
Let's roll an instinct perception check.
I get 5, 5, 4, and 2 2s.
It's too dark. You can see things in front of the gate, but you can't really identify which ones doing the damage, but you can definitely see things. You could take a shot now at something, but you don't know if it's going to hit the target that you want to.
Okay. If I can see where the gate is being hit, essentially, with this large thing, I'm gonna try and shoot in that general direction.
Certainly. Please take your turn by attacking. Please roll your agility and projectiles as you try and aim and shoot.
I get 2 6s, 2 4s, 1 1, and a 3.
You aim at something and you fire. It's not the main target, but that you just catch a hint of something in the dark, and with your vision and your hunting rifle you fire and you hit. You deal 6 damage, which is your damage of your rifle, but also 2 more because of the 6s. In this case, 6s now add damage, dealing 8 damage. You hear something roar in anger. You definitely got something. But for now, you're going to have to quickly try and reload. Jürgen, it's your turn. You can see before you the gate beginning to buckle, and then buckle again. Something is ramming on the other side very, very heavily.
I don't suppose it's the case that the pistol can penetrate this gate, so at the moment I have to wait. I'm not going out there, that's for sure. So until they come in, but the very moment that gate opens just enough for one of these barely clad wastrels to come charging in, I'll open fire.
You can sit and wait by the barricade, and I'll give you an extra dice because of this as you get ready just to open fire as soon as that gate comes down. It is your turn. Vorken, you're nearly done. You are nearly done. What do you do?
I hear this loud thumping sound. I just need to get it ready. And I keep cranking and I keep sighting the codex.
Body and athletics check.
That is 3 successes.
You turn that crank 100%. Again, there's no time to think about planning. You just press the button you see light up, and all around the watchtower is light and fire as the electricity field activates. Neither you, Vorken, or you, Jürgen, see the grand effect, but you, Matilda, get a perfect view as you see a large electrical field of energy surround the entire perimeter. You see 10, 20, 30 bodies frying in the electrical field, screaming as they die in agony, their bodies just becoming torches in the night. You can see also around the field for a moment in the flash of fire many more, at least another 20, but they are beginning to stall just for a few seconds. You also notice, Matilda, that one part of the field isn't working. It's sparking, but it's not working. And you see suddenly what remains of this force beginning to cram around and try and come in around that end. How are you feeling, Matilda, as you see this sight?
At first, Matilda's little engineer heart is so happy to see such a massive amount of energy just sparking up in the night. But as soon as she sees that a lot of bodies are being fried, she closes her eyes. It's just too much for her to look at, and just whispers, "Oh God, oh my God, oh Jesus."
Murdoch calls out loudly, "You see that, fuckers? That's what you get when you mess with the hammer!" Down below, it's at that point that the gate finally comes open. Something from the other side has smashed it down. You see before you, Jürgen, a man? You think. He's about 8-9 feet tall, a mountain of muscle and flesh. He is carrying in one hand a gigantic mace, you think made from bone? You're not quite sure. They are wearing rags and furs, covered in blood, their skin deadly pale but contrasting with the red. They have a great mane of dark hair and dark eyes as they roar in anger as the gate comes down. By their side, are two smaller individuals, but they are still quite imposing. One, again, seems to be some sort of man, although he is bald. The other has a lot of hair. You think a woman? Maybe? They're shrieking loudly as they begin charging forwards, charging into your position. What do you do? Matilda, it's your turn. You see down below, the gate has been breached, and 3 individuals are beginning to make their way in. One of them is a mountain, the other 2 slightly less so. One of them is limping a little. You've injured that one. What do you do?
I'm gonna wait until there are as many individuals around my bombs as possible. Preferably some of those that look the most dangerous. And while I do that, I'm just gonna shoot whatever target I can get.
Wonderful. Please roll. Agility and projectiles.
Okay, I get 2 successes. One is a 6.
Very good. You just hit the one that was injured. You take aim. You fire. This time the damage is 7. You aim at the leg. You fire. They go down. They fall down to the ground, grunt in pain, and then, just for good measure, you put another bullet in their head as well. You've taken down one of them. Jürgen, it's your turn. 2 individuals were charging at your position, but one of them is taken down from above. They're down, but the other is fine, and the mountain is slowly encroaching as well. What do you do?
Do I still retain my bonus action from getting the 2 6s on my initiative roll?
I'm going to say yes, because you set it up. So yes.
First things first then, I'm going to actually shoot at the big man. I don't want him to get to me. The smaller one we can maybe deal with, but the big guy, I don't want to tango with him. So I will take 2 shots at him.
Roll your attacks.
That's just agility and projectiles?
Yes.
Only 2 successes.
Still enough to get a hit in. What is the damage of your pistol?
9.
You take aim and fire your pistol straight into this being's chest, and you hit! It winces, but it doesn't go down. It really should have gone down. You really wish it had gone down, but it has not. But you do have a second attack.
Flesh is flesh, no matter how much of it there is. Let's get this done. 2 successes, one of them is 6.
And again, you just rapid fire on this being. He's taking hits and starting to look like he's slowing a little, but at the same time, growling very angrily. There is something happening, but you're not quite sure what it is. Vorken, it is your turn. The foes are beginning to enter the area. What do you do?
Jürgen probably just hears a loud roar from behind him, and then a harpoon is flung through the air. Through the first target that I see coming through.
Wonderful. Roll that. That would be, again, agility projectiles for your harpoon.
That's just 1 success, it's 1 6.
Unfortunately, your harpoon goes wide. You would have hit the one just about to approach your friend, but again, it just sort of misses them as they kind of duck to the side. This woman shrieking in joy as she dodges your attack, saying something insulting.
I'm feeling my arms being numb from all the turning of the crank as I hoist my hammer and get ready.
The being, the mountain, barrels forward, heading towards you, Jürgen, with murderous intent, beginning to swing his mace back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He will be upon you very, very soon as he charges at you with full power. The other, meanwhile, does reach you and begins to try and swing over the barricade at you, trying to get a hit in with her knife. However, you manage to just duck down, your cover saving you as you just hear this knife whiz past your head. But again, you have cover, you're okay, you think.
For now.
Matilda, it's your turn. As you're seeing this all unfold, you notice just now behind the mountain who's charged forward, they're coming. 5, 10, all barreling together, a screaming mass of people, but they're not acting like people, not any people you've ever seen. It's like they don't even care that they're running into gunfire. They're just charging into the gate and right by your explosive. What do?
How many is near the bombs now? Quite a few?
No, none are near the bomb near the watchtower. Not really many are by the one in the middle. You actually worry that would hit your friends. But at least 10 are about to go straight past the one you set right at the gate. It seems as if the big mountain has completely ignored that you even had it there.
Well, I am gonna trigger the one at the gate then. I'm gonna aim my gun and, yeah, shoot it.
You do not need to roll to make this shot. It's an easy shot. There is a gigantic explosion as your black powder barrel explodes. The sounds of dying and screaming can be heard everywhere, as again, a mountain of corpses, at least 5 or 6, suddenly are just scattered everywhere at the front gate. You feel quite powerful, Matilda, but also very aware of how many people you've just killed.
Matilda can't help but smile. She thinks it's terrible, part of her at least, but there's also a part of her that really likes that this just worked. That her plan, that her skills were good enough to help out in this situation. So there's a sense of pride behind the sadness.
Indeed. And just to the corners, to the left and right, you do notice there do seem to be a few figures who must have got through the initial barrage, and they are climbing the walls, but an arrow hits one, and a bullet hits the other, as Murdoch and Hakal do their best to at least cover the walls. Jürgen, it is your turn. The mountain will soon be upon you, and someone is right in your face right now. What do?
I'm not going to let the mountain close distance with me, so I would like to retreat back from that barricade to the second set, into the center of the courtyard. I want to lure more of them towards the barrels, and I want to not get killed while I do it.
You do your best and bolt away. This does require you to run, of course, which will mean that your action is at -1 dice. But you do now have a passive defense.
Can I make? Oh, so I can make a Parthian shot as I'm moving?
Yes,
Excellent.
but at -1 dice.
Okay, I'll still aim at the big man. There's more of him to hit. 3 successes.
As you take aim and fire, he straight up deflects your bullet with this giant mace. He just quickly puts it in front of him, and your bullet just goes straight into the mace, not him.
Thank God for this mask. No one can see my eyes go wide and my lips just mouthing, "What the fuck?" As I, at that point, turn fully and charge into the center of the clearing where the watchtower is.
Vorken, it is your turn. You notice that your friend is swiftly retreating, which does actually mean that they'll soon be on your position. You notice that the woman you threw the harpoon at kind of turns in your direction and snarls. What do?
Did he get followed by anyone? Because there was one attacking him, wasn't there?
Yes, that one is snarling at you, looking in your direction. It's probably going to go for either you or him. You don't know.
Alright. I want to get towards his position as well. I have my hammer hefted now. If something gets within reach, I'm going to use it. Otherwise, I'm going to, focus on getting there so we can lure more people towards the next trap.
Indeed, and you also quickly just make your way to that central area. There's no longer any cover here, but you are very near that second explosive. Again, you have an action, but it's at -1 dice.
Alright, so do I have someone within range for my hammer then?
Not your hammer. You can shoot, but not your hammer. You are trying to avoid them for the moment.
Well, no, I don't have it. My only ranged weapon was the harpoon that I threw.
Which you threw. In that case, there is not much you can do. You take a time to mentally prepare yourself, getting ready, and giving yourself a dice. It is at this point that then you look up and see a great bird fly down from nowhere and land on your head. It screeches loudly. This thing is the size of a small dog or something. It's a massive eagle. It has giant wings and talons and reddish eyes. It seems to have some sort of reptilian scales upon it as well. Luckily, you are able to brush aside this being. You tell me how you brush it aside.
Just as it comes down, I turn my head down as I see it, and its claws, talons, go straight into my hat, the thick leather hat of the judge, and I manage to dodge away as it just burrows its talons into that.
And it launches itself back into the air, screeching loudly. It is at this point that the mountain, charges forward. He covers a lot of ground. Just as you brush aside this bird, there he is, this mountain of a man. Before you can even think to react, he brings down his weapon upon you. Just as this is about to happen, though, I'm going to allow you, if you want, to declare active defense for this turn. You will not get an attack, but you'll be able to roll defense dice against this attack.
I'll do that then and trust in my allies.
In that case, you'll be rolling your body melee.
That's 3 successes, 1 6.
You are able to bring up your own hammer and meet this mountain. You literally feel your body shoved back by a violent tremor, but somehow you are still standing. Somehow. You're not quite sure how. Matilda, it's your turn. This mountain has charged forward and is right where your friends are, but the other one seems to be trying to bypass round him to get around them. That one is very close to the barrel. What do you do?
Can I shoot that barrel, knowing that it won't hurt the others?
If you call out to them, you think they'll just be able to quickly maneuver a little, yes.
And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna call out, "Hey, move away from the barrel!"
And as you do that, you fire. And again, you hit the second bomb. This one lights up just this one woman. But it takes her out. She literally is blown in two as her body just sort of splays across the courtyard. You do see beyond the corpse pile you've made at the other end, more people are gathering. They'll be here soon, but you're holding them off. You're holding them off, and you just then think, in the distance, you can see something. You can see lights, torches. You think you can see lights and torches, Matilda?
Matilda, her heart stops for a moment. She's secretly hoping that this is the backup that they asked for, and that they can get some help because they're not gonna make it without it.
Jürgen, your turn. There is a gigantic mountain of a man now before you. You notice that the wound you did before seems to be closing ever so slightly. There's a strange darkness upon his person. His veins are lighting up with black, icky goo. You think, again, it's very hard to see in this situation and quite terrifying. What do you do?
We're running out of places to run.
You are.
The disorientation from this concussion wave, the bomb was too close, bringing unsteady on my feet. I'm not going to be able to sprint away, and with Vorkin already engaged with this creature, the best we can hope is to both take him on. So I will drop the pistol and take the mace off of my hip and launch into a melee attack.
As you do so, and you run at this being, it turns its head to look at you and just begins screaming. Gamamansk! Gamamansk Creole! And you are filled for a moment with a slight hesitation. Could you please roll a psyche willpower roll?
I will do that. I will also spend an ego point to bulk up my will.
Certainly.
It's only one success.
You have hesitation. You have fear. Even if you kill this thing, there are more coming. You can't see the reinforcements. Is this where it all ends? I'm afraid your attack is now at -2 dice.
Terror is what it is, and what they teach you as you are coming up the ranks of the Spitalian training is that fear only ever leads to mistakes. When you see someone splayed open, you can't let the fear of the body horror or the fear of failure get in the way, because you will fail to treat your patient. And that extends into everything you do. So despite this terror, I have rolled 2 6s and 2 4s.
In that case, that is a success. And you do how much damage?
That will be 8 total.
You just lay your mace into this being, despite the fear. After all, death is death. And you strike him hard in the leg. The leg buckles, you can hear bone breaking. This thing is not invincible, but it's still standing, just about. Vorgan. Unfortunately, while you are able to get your hammer back into position, you realize you don't quite have time to make another attack this round. And that's when this being looks at you, and then looks at the one who's hurt him, Jorgen, and gets ready to attack. It is a new round. Jorgen, if you wish, you can now do active defense for this round.
That seems like a fantastic idea.
Roll your defense as this being brings down his mace upon your head.
I'm going to use agility and mobility, because I do not expect that I can go mace to mace with this man. 3 successes on my part.
Sadly, not good enough. The being tilts its head, blood pouring from its mouth, a sort of blackish blood now. Looks around at the carnage, seeing many fallen friends, and just looks at you, Jorgen, and brings down that bone mace with both its hands, striking you for 12 damage. Don't forget your armor, though.
I have 3 armor, that does 9, so I'm still on my feet with 1 point of flesh wound left before I go into trauma.
Indeed. You are standing, but you are thrown from your position and just crash down to the ground in a lot of pain. Matilda, it's your turn. You see this happening. On the horizon, the lights are coming closer. Closer, you think there's about 10 or 20. You hear shouting and you hear gunfire. The reinforcements have arrived. The reinforcements have arrived. What do you do?
Has the big guy been taken down yet? No, I am gonna aim for his head.
Roll your attack.
I get 1 6, 2 4s, and 2 1s.
That is a hit, and you do 7 damage. Tell me, Matilda, as you see this being blow away the Spitalion, the man who was slightly nice to you, he gave you some comforting words, and just blow him away like a rag doll, what do? How do you finish this being?
I hold my breath as I take my aim. That's how I usually get the steadiest aim, and I just want to take it down. It has done so much damage, it's been so dangerous now that it needs to die. And I slowly breathe out to take my aim, and I try to shoot it right between the eyes.
You take aim, you fire. Right between the eyes. The being sways a little. He sort of looks down. He looks at you for a moment. Vorkan, after all, you're still there. He tries to reach out for you with a hand, muttering, Gamermansk, Creo, and just falls forward. You take a sidestep, Vorkan, as this great mountain of a man falls dead. What do you do, Vorkan? You look to the horizon and see suddenly the sounds of torches and gunfire. Muskets. The sound of the judges' muskets.
I survey the situation. I see how Jürgen has been just flung to one side, and I step up in front of him and I try to keep anything away from him, fighting off whatever is here and whatever is left. And if there's no one left in here, I will run out myself and be the other side of that sandwich when the cavalry arrives. I would even jump up on the horse and charge out with my hammer high.
Jürgen, the world has become very painful and confusing, but you are still alive. What are you doing on the floor?
Desperately trying to suck in a breath after all the wind has been knocked out of me. I'm pawing around at the ground. Do I still have hold of my mace?
You've lost your hold of your mace, but in a few minutes you can get it back again. Again, you are definitely suffering a concussion.
I'm going to try to struggle up to my feet, at least orienting myself towards anyone who might be charging at me, just taking a moment to take a defensive posture as I try to clear out the bell ringing in my head.
And eventually, you get back up. Just in time to see Vorken riding up on the horse outside, wielding his hammer. The enemy are broken, as 20 other judges, armed with muskets and on horseback, ride into the area, riding around the electric field and beginning to chase off what remains of this force. Matilda, they're retreating. You see Murdoch coughing a little but going, "See? That army fucking, we did it! I'm gonna see my wife again!" And Halcon comes over to you and again gives you a firm nod. Well done, young one. Good shooting.
I didn't do more than anyone else.
I don't know if that's true. I think God was with you today as he was with us all.
Amen, I think.
He laughs a little, saying, "Not quite what we say, but I understand the meaning." 10-20 more minutes pass, and finally, you are surrounded by armoured men and women of the judges, surveying the scene, taking stock of damage, beginning to pull Murdoch onto a stretcher. One of them, a gruff-looking woman, comes over to you. Vorken. "Seems like you did a good job here, Judge. Well done. Well bloody done."
I nod, and as I found my hat again, I put it on, and I say, "I just did my job. Seems like it was a success if we can get him back enough in time, but unfortunately we lost the vagrant."
"You can't recover the body."
Well, we'll search the nearby area.
Not sure we have the manpower for that. We'll have to give it a go, though. Woodwork, this was unexpected. We would have sent more of you if we'd known this was coming. Another bloody attack from a vanguard force. There was just one the other week, and one before that.
They're getting... It's like they're poking at our defenses.
Yes, they are. And in great numbers. These bloody cockroaches. Cleanse them all. How did they survive out there in the wastes?
Might come to us needing to do a full-out assault.
She looks at you and raises an eyebrow. "Oh, wonderful. Where to? North? South? East? We can't afford to go and assault them. We need to defend our borders."
I look a bit disgruntled, always wanting to be the one who is on the offense, but they know this. And I look down, annoyed that I can't just do it my way.
You see another individual coming towards you, Jürgen. It's a judge. They don't quite know what they're doing, but they are trying to give you a bit of a bandage. What are you doing? It seems you're safe for now, even though you are quite wounded.
I trust them enough to at least stabilize me. But make no mistake, as soon as we've collected our accolades and our payment, I'll be having a long meeting with the battalions. So at this point, I'm still on the ground, just sitting up, peel my mask off, looking to see Vorken nodding up towards the watchtower. Matilda seems still in one piece. We managed then, at least for now.
Matilda, you come down, surrounded now by many judges. You certainly won't be taking any more scrap, you don't think. But by your side, Hakal has joined you. What are you thinking and doing as you look around? It seems you are going to survive the night.
Matilda has almost changed her entire attitude towards her existence in a night. This has reformed her. Maybe not into something better, maybe not into something worse, but it has changed her. She used to approach her entire life with positivity, but now that she's seen how horrible and cruel the world can be, there's a part of her that's broken. That spark in her eyes is gone. But she doesn't seem sad, she just seems melancholic.
Hakal notices this and comes over. He seems to be able to read you quite well. You think he's looking at you very strangely. He says, "You look lost, friend. What is the matter? You have been victorious."
And I've also killed so many.
That is sometimes the way of things. But we are all sinners. Repentance is not impossible. It is God's will, after all.
Right.
You know, if you are looking for somewhere else to go from here, I could use some help. I was tracking my niece. She went missing from her flock. That's why I'm here. I heard the gunshots and it seems it was my destiny to help here today, but I will now be moving on. If you wish, you could come with me. There might even be some scrap, although such things aren't worth as much as you think, friend.
If I'm useful, then of course.
He gives you a nod. And so, night turns to day, and in the company of a full escort, if you wish, you will head back to Siege. Vorken, what are your final thoughts as you head back to the safety of civilization? What are your thoughts on what has occurred this day and evening?
I feel content. I feel that I performed my mission, and the threat to the Protectorate was stopped for now, thanks to our efforts. I look over the people that we're traveling with. I think about this battalion, I think about the scrapper. I was lucky to have them both with me. It feels good, but I also feel how I miss that. Being out on the front line, being in that constant battle. Will I ever be fit to be a judge of higher rank? Well, I have many years to go. Maybe. Maybe not. I see the people I'm riding with. A lot of them recognize me because I have a certain reputation. I often stuck to my own guns. Now I have to follow what I'm being told. But if I can keep this going, maybe I'll be the one setting the rules one day. And I smile to myself and I adjust my glasses and my hat and enjoy feeling that weight of the hammer.
Matilda, what are your final thoughts? Do you take up the offer of this Jehamadan?
She takes up the offer. Matilda's taking up the offer. She seems like she's standing on a precipice in her life. She doesn't know where to go, and someone reached out to show her the way, so she's gonna go. She seems hopeful, a bit scared of the world now, but maybe also a bit wiser.
Jürgen, what are your thoughts as you head back to siege.
There can be no health without stability. There can be no stability without people like myself, like the Scrapper, like Forkin, to hold the line against the cockroaches. I survived, that is enough. One more trial to take back to the Spitalians, and I can't wait to be back on my feet to continue my charge.
The bodies begin to be taken to a pile, to be burned. There's all that remains of the cockroaches that were left. Although, the very large one, just as his body is being dragged away, suddenly a great bird descends from the sky, plunges its talons into his heart, and rips it out, before launching back into the sky. Everyone is so surprised by this that no one has time to think of shooting the bird down. But it flies away somewhere, carrying that dead heart. It will be taken to the shamans and devoured. This warrior's spirit not totally wasted. The Protectorate is surrounded by many foes. The cockroach clans are just one. Day by day, more enemies try and poke at those borders, poke at those watchtowers. It will only take one unlucky day for them to overrun one watchtower and spread into so-called peaceful lands. Still, this is the world we live in now, the world you all live in. But some say that a second world ending is coming, that mankind was only offered one chance and they have already wasted it, that this will be the end of the Homo sapiens and the rise of the Homo DEGENESIS.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played the scenario Last Watch for the free-to-play Primal Punk RPG DEGENESIS. DEGENESIS is published by Six More Vodka, who also sponsored this series. Head over to degenesis.com to download the game for free, and if you like physical books, you can head to their shop and use the code REDMOON10, REDMOON10, with capital letters to get 10% off your order. The code is valid until July 31st. We were joined by Clara Herbal and Aaron Hammonds from Queen's Court Games. The music was made by Alpha Zone, Xerxes the Dark, and Sabled Sun, and was used with permission from Cryochamber. Check them all out at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more music for your table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon: Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julián, Camilla, Ludwig Manford, Bob de Lange, and Julián for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember, Eshatan awaits us all.